So the only ways you're going to make money, if you just have a job, what a lot of people say, I like university. I spent 9 years in universities. I thought it was very useful. But if you only have a job, if you did that for a job, I did that for an education. I wanted to understand the world better. I wanted to understand, high-level concepts better, mostly around business or psychology. And for those that think, I'm just going to go through the motions and get my little degree and get a job. Well, if you only have one source of income, well, then you're one step away from being fired, and you're one step away from being unemployed, and you're one step away from poverty line. And right now in America, right now, in the wealthiest country in the world, by far, people are lining up to go get free food because the unemployment rates are high right now. Right now in America, people are lining up for free food. America is 4.6% of the world's population, less than 5% of the world's population, and 26% of the global economy. So in the richest country that's ever existed, the most prosperous country that's ever existed in history, people are lining up for free food because they had one income source, and then they lost it, and now they're fucked. That's heavily associated with depression, with anxiety. It's not a good place to be in. If you only have one income stream, I got my job. I went to school and I got my job. You're one step away from a soup kitchen, idiot. If you think your job's going to save you, you're one step away from a soup kitchen. There's a media article just published about me. Go Google it. I don't need to say the brand name. It's talking about this exact phenomenon. The average millionaires had 7 sources of income. A normal millionaires had 7 sources of income. And very reliably, those include real estate. Those include stocks or other market investments. It's not just their job. And the number one thing that I help people with, and one of the main things that we're going to talk about this week, is how do you transition from, of course you should have a good education, of course you should have a good work ethic, you should apply that at your job, but step one, how do you get the most money from your current work environment? How do you get paid the maximum wage in the environment that you're currently in, instead of the mediocre wage that you're likely getting at the moment? You might be getting paid way above average, by the way. It's not the best you could do. If it was the best you can do, you wouldn't be here. You could do better. You wouldn't be here if you didn't know you could do better. I don't need to convince you of that. You already know you can do better, or you wouldn't fucking be here. You came here because you want to do better. So step one, how do we optimize that income from your current employer or your economic circumstance? How do we then create side income that you have some secondary income sources? How do we then grow those secondary income sources and get a third one, a fourth one, et cetera? How do we get you multiple income streams? And how do we grow them to such an extent that you just don't have time to go to work anymore? It doesn't make economic sense for you to show up to your job because it costs you too much fucking money to show up for your job. All right? And that's called an entrepreneur. And entrepreneurship is great. But what are we going to do then? Well, you need to invest that money. So it's great to have multiple income streams, but then invest the goddamn money. And the number one markets, most of that is the stock market. There's a lot of other things. You could invest in commodities. You could invest in foreign exchange arbitrage. You could invest in alternative currencies. Some of you guys are interested in cryptocurrencies or other alternative assets like that. That's fine too. It's something worth talking about. What are the vehicles that we use to do that? You either have outright ownership, have leveraged ownership like a margin account, or you could trade futures, you could trade options. There's numerous ways to invest in that. So multitude of asset classes that comprise the global economy, in numerous ways to trade and or invest in those things, depending on the context and your risk profile, your knowledge base, et cetera. And the other commonality, one of those 7 income streams, it's always real estate. It's always real estate. I bought 5 properties in the last month, and I leased another one. I bought 5 properties outright and leased another one. 6 new properties this month. So I needed an extra office space for now, and I bought a bunch of shit to invest in. We're in one of those properties right now. Is it okay, guys? Does it look okay? If you're not taking advantage of that, and you got to be able to do that, this is a beautiful time. When you have turmoil in the markets, when people are scared, when people are in the fucking soup kitchen line, this is the time to invest in those things. When people are scared, that's when asset prices can collapse. Or when you have inflationary things. The Fed governor was just on TV the other day. Easy monetary policy for years. Easy monetary policy for years, which means inflation. Which means if you don't own those asset classes, if you just have, currency and you don't own, hard assets of some kind, stocks, real estate, etc., it means that your money's getting it's like a tax for the stupid. Inflation is a tax for people that are too stupid to invest in hard assets. It's really what inflation is. I don't say that as an insult. Think it through. If you don't know that, think about it a minute. Those of you that are smart enough to, and I don't mean that as an insult either, those of you that are educated in this area know exactly what I'm saying. And those that aren't, we'll talk about it this weekend and we'll try to make things better.